Welcome today. My name is Jean Nipper, and welcome to the Community of Inquiry Workshop, Session 3. We are going to first begin with a quality check to make sure that you can hear everything. We want to put a Do Not Disturb sign outside your door, shut your door, and turn off your phone. Take a deep breath so we can focus. Let's do a quality check and make sure that our systems are working. Go ahead and give me a green check if you can see the red record in the upper right corner.
Yes.
Oh, yours is not working, Melanie?
How do you do a check?
A check is above where the
Oh, wait, I got it.
There's a little checkbox.
I got it.
In case anybody else couldn't hear. Okay. Now give me a green check if you can see quality check at the top of the screen. Fantastic. And one last green check if you can hear me, which obviously at this point you can. Okay, fantastic. Let's move on. Today's objectives that at the end of this session you should be able to explain the 3 practical aspects of teaching presence, and you should also be able to describe the guidelines for which we can apply the Community of Inquiry framework in our online or blended classes. So let's go ahead and begin. We're going to start out with a class activity. Basically, here's a definition. Blended learning is a combination of face-to-face and online activities to engage students in meaningful educational experiences. In the text chat, for those people here in the lesson today, please write your best guess as to what percentage of American higher education institutions offer blended learning classes or courses. And for those of you out in our virtual audience, go ahead and start an email, and I'm going to have you respond to a couple activities, and this is the first one. So go ahead and put your guess. What percentage? Okay, this is great. So far we have a couple of responses here. Melanie was guessing 25% and Rachel 60%. And so those guesses actually, believe it or not, are actually below what Garrison has reported. According to Garrison, the author of our text that our workshop is based on, 80% of higher education institutions offer blended learning courses, and it's considered the new normal. Blended learning is about actively involving all of our learners in the educational experience, and that's what we're talking about today. We're just doing an overview of that. So we want to talk about our teaching guidelines today. What that means is, as a teacher in the classroom, we want to bring our learners together in purposeful communities of inquiry. We want to create shared learning environments to connect the learners. According to Garrison, the Community of Inquiry framework is one of the most utilized theories for blended learning at this time, for helping to design it, to structure it. And there are 3 main areas of practical teaching application. As the educator, your teaching presence must consider these 3 key areas, which are design and organization, facilitation, and direction. So let's go over each of those quickly. Design and organization. This is where we want to make sure that our students feel welcome and that they're part of the community. Some activities that help you do this, you know, when you do introductions with the class or you have bios that you share, and you discuss expectations and goals. The focus is on purposeful learning and the critical learning process. Examples of this would be question and problem-driven activities, small breakout groups, collaboratively working together. And then our third component, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Our second component is facilitating discourse. The teacher's goal is to engage learners in discourse. Facilitation is our major responsibility to manage and monitor a learning environment. We want to engage the students in those meaningful discussions and stimulate reflection. The activities that could facilitate this are acknowledging students' participation, being conversational rather than formal, providing thought-provoking questions, challenging ideas, encouraging reflection, and also keeping the discussion moving forward. That's really key. And the third component that we're going to discuss today is direct instruction. And it is just as it states, instructing and giving direction. We want to model how to participate inquisitively and scholarly. We want to scaffold our activities and participation in the class. And some suggestions for this are, providing respectful feedback, being willing to negotiate and provide rationale, quickly dealing with conflict. There's that adage, praise in public, criticize in private, summarize discussion points, and also provide closure for lessons. Now that's a quick overview. You guys have all done your reading, I'm sure. So let's go ahead and engage in a class activity. Now again, for those virtual learners out there, go ahead and read through this and put that response in the email for me that you'll send later. So since we have a small group here today, we're just going to go ahead and utilize group 1. Our class activity is, I want you to go ahead and read the case study, and I'll read it aloud here in a moment, and then you guys are going to go into group 1 and work through the problem. Okay, we want to go ahead and change some of the classes to blended learning environments, and at present, the classes are face-to-face, and how can we work through this? And what are some suggestions? So I just brought up the slide from group 1, and thank you guys for bearing with me. Is there someone who would like to represent the group and explain what you've written here?
Sure. Both of us, we both came up with the ideas to incorporate an interactive forum that would kind of facilitate and mimic an online discussion-based classroom. Also, online courses and online content facilitates the use of multimodal learning, so you can incorporate links, images, videos of current and modern events that would then reflect back on things that you're learning and apply more like real-world knowledge and to make it more important to the coursework.
Okay, great. So when you said some online content, do you have an example?
Well, potentially depends, on the goal of the class and what the class is covering, but for example, perhaps an education class that's talking about education policy in the United States would then incorporate some of the news coverage via video or articles about the current Secretary of Education in the United States, and then look into, what her stance on positions are and what the current stance on positions are, and then that would make it a lot more real to a lot of people learning rather than just making it some abstract laws.
Okay, yeah, exactly. It makes it really relevant and up to date. Excellent example. Okay, good job. Nice work, everyone. And again, those virtual listeners out there, please go ahead and put that in your email. And that is the last activity for today, so you can send that email as soon as you're done with that. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. In summary today, the practical aspects of teaching in the classroom using the CoI or Community of Inquiry framework is design and organization, facilitating discourse, and direct instruction. We want to remember to plan for open communication and critical discourse. We want to establish that cohesive community of inquiry with goals and expectations that are clear. And we want to sustain a respectful environment using the practical inquiry model. Remember last session we learned about that, which is where we move learners through triggering, exploration, integration, and resolution phases, just as we did today with our black slides. Again, thank you for joining me today, and are there any questions at this point?
None.
Okay. Here's the references for the session. And we will go ahead and wrap this up now, and I'll stop recording. Thank you.